Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today we're going to show you something fun that you need to know. That's really the easiest way to say it. And it is, well, you know what? Stay to after the thingy and we'll tell you all about it. One of the most popular things that people still do to this day to their car is add a subwoofer. And unlike before, it was super easy to do, it's no longer that. There's a lot of things that kind of get in our way, and well, it could be a problem. The worst thing that can happen is when you install this and then you find out there's one of these problems and that, oh man, it's not gonna work, or you're gonna have to do some really weird stuff in order to get it to work. And those things are remote turn on, ANC, too much voltage coming into this box here from the signal, finding the right signal. These are all things that are a problem. Today we're going to show you our technique for testing these things so that we can put this subwoofer into a car. Now there are going to be some tools that you're going to need to do this, and let's take a look at those. So for testing signal, you need an RTA. For this, we'll be using our IRTA2, which is available on DNF Tool Drawer. We'll be using a polarity tester, the PT9A Plus, available at mobilesolutionsusa.com, and a standard voltmeter, which you can get anywhere, but we do have listed on DNF Tool Drawer. Now with these three tools, we'll be able to test everything that we need to know about integrating into this BMW. Ooh. Let's hop in the back of the car and start there. Now every car is going to be a little different. This just happens to be a BMW. Conveniently located here in the back is the amplifier with the speaker wires. When testing a speaker for subwoofer, strongly recommend if the car has a factory subwoofer, go to it. Some cars that's good, some cars it's bad. F-150s is kind of sketchy. Front door speakers are typically your best option for a subwoofer. Those are usually the ones that are going to be playing the most bass from the factory radio. Believe it or not, these things will have EQs, sometimes crossovers in them, and the front speaker is where most of the deep bass is going to come from. But you'll be able to see that with the RTA. Find your speaker wire, or what you think is the speaker wire. That part you're on your own for because each technique to do it is a little different. But once you've found the speaker wire, that's where your testing is going to begin. So in this case, we have our speaker wire tapped. We're using these test leads here to do that. The first test we're going to do, because it's the most important one, is test signal. We want to see what signal is coming into it, meaning the EQ curve. We want to see is there fake engine noise. That's important. And to do that, we're going to use the RTA. The first thing you want to do is get into the vehicle, roll up all the windows, close all the doors, shut the hood, close the back of the car. This is important because some ANCs are negated when the windows are down or the door is open. So to do an accurate test, make sure everything is closed up. And for those of you going, what is ANC? It's automatic noise canceling. It can also be fake engine noise. In this case, it would probably be fake engine noise that BMW puts in, or they pipe in noise from the outside. Think of it as noise canceling headphones for your car. It's the easiest way to kind of wrap your head around it. A lot of people go, I don't hear it, and you're not supposed to. That's the whole idea behind it. To test for it, an RTA will show you. In this case, we're gonna play some pink noise and look at it on the RTA. So what we're looking at is the subwoofer output of the radio. We can see a nice big amount of bass. That's great for what we're gonna be doing, adding a subwoofer, so we're good there. Now we wanna test for fake engine noise. The reason why we do the audio test first is because we wanna make sure that we're actually getting sound over the system. The next thing we need to do is start the vehicle. Once the vehicle is up to idle and everything is leveled out, turn the audio all the way down on the radio and rev up the engine. Now, if you see nothing happen in this range right here, that means you have no ANC. If you do see something happen there where it goes up and kind of waterfalls back down, that means you have ANC, and now you're gonna have to figure out how to bypass it. Bypassing it is different for every vehicle. In some cases, it's as simple as unplugging a module. Something like a BMW, you do have to go into the software and program it out. Ford is the same way. Chevy typically has a wire. Toyota, the newer ones, have modules that you can unplug. Sometimes it's a hidden menu in the radio screen. There's no like one way to do it. But now we know two things. One is their signal to play our subwoofer, and two, Do we have fake engine noise? Yes on the first one, no on the second one. The next thing we need to find out is how much voltage is coming from the factory amplifier. And the reason why we need to do this is because there is a limitation on how much voltage a device can take in. Sometimes it's 5 volts, sometimes it's 10 volts, 20 volts, 40 volts. But without knowing this, you run the risk of blowing up the input of the device you're putting in. In our case, we're putting in a Rockford P300. It has a 10 volt input. For this, we're gonna be playing a 40 hertz test track. Some cases you're going to want to play 40, you might want to play 50, and you might want to play 60 just to see what the voltage change is, because if there's a ton of bass roll off in the system, at 80 hertz it could be 20 volts of output, but at 40 hertz it could be 5 volts of output, in which case it's going to be bad. This test will just need the simple voltmeter. We're going to set it to AC. AC is the squiggly line with a V underneath it. Positive, negative don't matter yet for this test. Roll up 40 hertz. This has a little bit more than 8 volts. Pro tip here is to make sure you have somebody controlling the volume while you're taking these readings, because you don't want to have to be running back and forth between the volume control and the voltmeter to see what is happening. It's not going to hurt the speakers, but you don't want to play them for a very long time. Now, we played 40 hertz because we know, looking at the RTA, this is going to be okay to play that. Like I said, play 50, play 60, play 70. You might want to play 80 hertz through a tone generator app to make sure that it doesn't go above that voltage. So the next test we want to do is DC offset. We want to see if this has the ability to turn on and off our amplifier using that feature. Most modern pieces of equipment have DC offset. Audio Control calls it AccuBase. There's a bunch of different ones out there. Basically what they're looking at is there a 6 volt DC carrier wave coming over our audio signal? To do that, we'll take our digital multimeter and we'll set it to DC. It's the solid line with dashes underneath it with a V. Leave the positive test lead in one of the speaker wires, take the black and go to a ground. And what we're looking for is this right here, somewhere around 6 volts. If it has that, we know it has DC offset, which is wonderful. While you're doing this test, this is a part where you're actually you can open the car up and you're gonna wanna shut the car off, get out, and let it go to sleep. This could take anywhere between 30 seconds all the way up to 5 minutes. When the car goes to sleep, your voltmeter is gonna read 0 volts. That'll tell you the information you need to know. So if the customer and or yourself are like, how long is this thing gonna stay on for? You can go to the customer and say, hey, listen, when the car shuts off, the subwoofer is gonna stay on for about 3 minutes. It's not drawing any amperage. It goes into what's called idle current mode, which means it's drawing almost no power at all. And that way they're not worried about it calling you up going, hey. Now the other thing that you have to remember about DC offset is that anytime you wake up the vehicle, the radio is gonna turn on, which is gonna turn on the amplifier, which is gonna turn on the DC offset. There again, the product will be in idle current mode, which means it's not going to draw a lot of current. In this case, this particular vehicle takes about 3 minutes before it goes to sleep. We've already done that test. I fell asleep in the back of the car. For the last test, we need to find out which one of these two wires here is positive and which one is negative, so that we don't have a problem between the factory subwoofer and or door speaker and our subwoofer that we're adding. If they play out of polarity, then we could have issues in that we get cancellation and stuff like that. For that test, we'll be using the PT9A Plus and a polarity pop track. Now in a PT9A Plus, it has a bunch of switches on here. And how we want to set it up is the first one is whether it's using CD or line. We're gonna say CD. The second one is whether we want it on or off. We obviously want it on. And the third one is going to be output or input. In this case, it's gonna be input because it's coming from a source. Connect our leads back up to our probes. And what we're looking for is this combination right here. Green, green, red. Green, green, red. Now that is going to tell us that whatever we have our positive test lead hooked up to, in this case a black wire, whatever we have our negative test lead hooked up to, I don't know, doesn't matter, is going to be the proper way to wire up our subwoofer. And there you have it, guys. That's the test we use every time we're getting ready to install a system in a car, whether we be adding a subwoofer or a new amplifier, it doesn't matter. It's the process we use so that we know what we're getting into. Fernando.
Until the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff you're supposed to do here. You guys have a great night as always, and we'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.